Teachers in Guyana end their nationwide strike. That's our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Thursday, September 6th. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Nicole Best. Good evening. The Guyana Teachers Union, the GUT, has announced that the strike by teachers across the country has been called off following agreement with the Education Ministry that their wage dispute be sent to arbitration. The two sides met on Thursday in the latest effort to resolve the impasse that saw teachers staying away from classrooms at the start of the new school year. And the GUT said it emerged victorious because it always wanted to go to arbitration. Union President Mark Light addressed the educators gathered outside the Department of Labor just before 5 p.m. He said teachers who are able to should return to work on Friday, but there should be full resumption of duties by Monday. As part of the agreement for them to return to work, teachers will not have their salaries docked for the days they were absent during the strike, and there will be no loss of seniority. Additionally, the ministry and union agreed there would be no victimization by either side. Chief Labor Officer Charles Ogle said government did not make any new offer to the GTU during the talks. The union is demanding a 40% pay hike for 2016 and 5% annually from 2017 to 2020. The two sides will meet again next Tuesday to finalize the terms of reference for arbitration, and that arbitration will be binding. The Belize government has announced a state of emergency in the south side of Belize City as it seeks to deal with escalating gun violence in the area, which left at least 6 people dead last weekend. Governor General Sir Colville Norbert Young signed the statutory instrument allowing the state of emergency to take effect in 2 of 5 previously identified hotspots. It is in effect for an initial 30-day period, but National Security Minister John Salvidar said he is prepared to go to Parliament to seek an extension as law enforcement agencies seek to get a handle on gang violence. The House of Representatives would have to approve such an extension. Under the state of emergency, police and other agencies have the authority to incarcerate gang members and their affiliates from the 2 identified areas for 30 days without charging them for any crime. So far, more than 100 people have been detained. Acting Commissioner of Police Chester Williams said lawmen had attempted to go the route of dialogue with the various gangs over the last few months. He said while there was some success, there were some groups that felt they could hold the city hostage and the time for talking is done.
As the police, who are tasked by law to ensure the safety of all, we cannot continue to dialogue with people who don't want to listen. Some people seemingly learn different than others, and so it is now necessary for us to be able to move to another level where we can let those persons who are adamant about creating havoc in our society understand that the police is here to do a job, and that job will be done at any cost to ensure the safety and security of our law-abiding citizens.
Williams sought to assure that the lives of law-abiding citizens will not be affected and police will not abuse the powers given to them under the state of emergency.
We will continue to discharge our duties in a manner that is respectful to the rights and freedom of all, especially our law-abiding citizens. We do not intend to disrupt the normal lives of those persons who live within those 2 areas in any way, shape, or form. However, if it is that they are condoning criminal activities or gang activities, then they can be sure that the police will be coming to their homes. But we do not want the public to believe that, oh, because we have a state of emergency, the ordinary lives of people will be disrupted by the state of emergencies in those areas. It will not.
But opposition leader John Briceño says a state of emergency is not the solution, and he urged the Dean Barrow administration to take a comprehensive and holistic approach to addressing the socio-economic difficulties faced by residents. Briceño accused the government of abandoning Southside Belize City and said the crime problem there now is the price of that neglect.
These people. It's not a matter of declaring a state of emergency and then you going in there and infringe on people's constitutional rights and just grab everybody where you feel on the streets and lock them up. Because 1 month later, when you release them, what happened? Locking up gang members for a month will not do anything to address the poverty and inequality on the south side of Belize City. It will not address the number of young people who are on the streets instead of being in school. We need to look at this problem from a holistic point of view.
Over in Jamaica, the parliamentary opposition is maintaining that the government will have to present more convincing evidence to get its support for further extensions of the states of emergency in St. James and the St. Catherine North. Commissioner of Police Major General Anthony Anderson on Tuesday night said he was in favor of an extension, saying lawmen have been getting more results with less effort. But opposition spokesman on national security Fitz Jackson believes other anti-crime measures should be implemented.
The answer is yes, we want the police to be 110% successful. But the question is, how do you seek to get that success? We as a government have a responsibility for the entire citizenry of the country, and therefore everything must be taken in the balance. The easiest way out in one regard might not be the best overall. And so what we would want to be satisfied of is it the only way to get done what you're doing, and what else can be done?
Jackson also raised concern about the negative impact of the states of emergency and what it's having on businesses in the two parishes.
There's a downside to the state of emergency. There are a number of persons who have been complaining, both in St. James and in North St. Catherine, particularly more vigorous in North St. Catherine, about the restriction in their businesses. A lot of small and medium-sized businesses are severely affected. It is not just business, it is affecting the livelihood of individuals who operate those businesses. It is affecting the persons who those businesses serve. And that is a concern of us. We can't say to hell with those concerns because the numbers are down.
Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley says he's prepared to make the political sacrifice of losing power in the next general election for closing Petrotrin's refinery in the interest of the future of this country. We get more in this TTT News Report.
PNM's public meeting in Marabala on Tuesday night, he thanked Kamala Persad-Bissessar for stating her intent to file a motion of no confidence in the government on the Petrotrin matter.
And she said the Prime Minister would be afraid to set a date. Well, you just file the motion and I give you the assurance that the date will follow immediately from the government, because it is time the country knows how we got where we are, why we are where we are, and what we're doing about it.
The political leader of the PNM said, unlike other politicians, he was prepared to sacrifice his parliamentary and political future for the sake of the nation's children.
But if it comes to that this is going to cause me to lose this job of Prime Minister, I will do so and thank you very sincerely for the opportunity you gave me. But what has to be done has to be done.
And he reiterated the government is not closing down Petrotrin. In the heartland of the Pointe-a-Pierre refinery, the Prime Minister said the government was so confident with its action regarding Petrotrin that it was not prepared to shy away from the people who are affected the most. Dr. Rowley described Petrotrin as an integrated company involved in many areas of business. He said government was simply getting out of the refinery business.
Is not closing down Petrotrin. And in case you were just opening your fridge and you didn't hear that when you closed the door, let me repeat it. The government of Trinidad and Tobago is not closing down Petrotrin.
Still to come in Caribbean Newsline, a new government unveiled in Haiti. Stay with us. There's more news after the break.
Well, lost in all the hubbub this week about the Manafort verdicts and the Cohen plea deal was another example of the nanny state run amok. And of course, that story originates in California. Senate Bill 1192 overwhelmingly passed and is now on its way to Governor Jerry Brown's desk, where it's almost certain to be signed into law. The bill will require that restaurants offering kids meals must restrict the drinks included with these meals to only water or unflavored milk.
So Carnival in the Caribbean, more to the point, the annual round of carnivals that begins in Trinidad in February and ends in Sugar City, St. Kitts in December. While Vinci has had theirs, St. Lucia also, Barbados just wrapped up, and Spice Mass is on the horizon. Here now are some scenes from Grenada's Juve 2017.
Yo, build the vibes. You see that girl over there, sir? I want to talk to her. Jab language.
Haiti has unveiled a new government 2 months after Prime Minister Jacques-Guy Lafontaine resigned on the heels of deadly protests against fuel price increases. The new administration, headed by new Prime Minister Jean-Henri Chart, will have as its first task addressing the socio-economic malaise in the French-speaking Caribbean country. The 61-year-old Chart is a notary who ran unsuccessfully for president in 2010 and 2016. He was named to the post of prime minister on August 5th, but due to discord between the legislative and presidential branches, it took a month to reach agreement on his 18-member cabinet. The Prime Ministerial Subcommittee on the CARICOM Single Market and Economy ended its meeting on Wednesday evening with a determination to lay the groundwork for more practical approaches to the integration process. Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley, who chaired the 9th Prime Ministerial Subcommittee meeting, said several decisions were taken that would help deepen the regional integration process. Among those is a recommendation for the establishment of a single jurisdiction with single registration for Caribbean companies.
And we believe that this is necessary to boost investment and to reduce both the hurdles and the costs that many of our enterprises will face as they seek to do business across multiple jurisdictions. We agreed on the principle of mutual recognition with respect to companies incorporated in one member state being recognized in other member states. And this, of course, will help significantly in reducing those hurdles and costs.
Motley says another decision that will positively impact the integration movement is the inclusion of farmers in the categories of workers allowed to travel and work freely in the region.
Right now there are 10 categories, and we've agreed to recommend an 11th category of agricultural workers, primarily because we recognize the importance of being able to attain food security across the region, particularly in these difficult and turbulent times, and coming as we did last year after the realization of what the climate can do, what hurricanes can do, and now we see earthquakes to disrupt the whole production and distribution cycle. And we're conscious and sensitive to the fact that we have to be able to move the region closer to a level of food security in ways that we've not perhaps been as assiduous about doing in recent times.
Other decisions included the establishment of a CARICOM Law Reform Center and a revisit of the CSME implementation plan. The decisions now have to be taken to the general body of CARICOM heads for ratification. St. Vincent and the Grenadines Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves is appealing to voters in Antigua and Barbuda to support their country replacing the London-based Privy Council with the Caribbean Court of Justice, the CCJ, as its final court. Citizens will vote in a referendum on November 6th on acceding to the CCJ's appellate jurisdiction. And Gonzalez, whose own country still uses the Privy Council, says it's not about politics. He contends that no one will vote for the Twin Island nation's Prime Minister Gaston Brown in the next elections on the basis that he can make the CCJ Antigua and Barbuda's final court.
And I'm asking the people of Antigua and Barbuda to support the CCJ in the referendum. It's not about Gaston Brown. You know, this doesn't add any luster to Gaston Brown. What adds luster is the creation of jobs, the bringing of investment, the making of people's material lives better, better education and health and all the rest of these things. The CCJ doesn't. The next elections, nobody's going to vote for Gaston Brown because he wins a referendum for the CCJ. Not a soul is going to vote for him for that. You know, this is a matter of overall national interest.
The United States is easing the burden of visa renewal for Grenadians visiting the North American country. The announcement was made on Thursday at a joint media brief with Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell, Foreign Affairs Minister Peter David, and the U.S. Ambassador to Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean, Linda Swartz-Tagliatella.
What the United States has done is approved for the people of Grenada a waiver for renewals of visas, which means people do not have to come to Barbados to get their visa renewed. They can do it online by filling out the visa application, submitting the appropriate documents, and then couriering their passport to Barbados. This is for people who have visas that have not expired longer than 12 months ago or who have current visas. Hopefully this will again encourage our relationship, which I believe, and my government believes, has been a very productive and very warm, welcoming relationship with Grenada for many years.
Currently, Grenadians must appear in person at the embassy in Barbados to renew their visas. The new online visa renewal regime takes effect on September 10th. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell said the move will go a long way in defining the perception of the importance of the relationship between the two countries.
I know for a fact many of our citizens historically in the attempt to get visas to the United States have had to make enormous sacrifices. Many of them are people, poor citizens who have little worth, and many times they have to spend quite a bit to go to Barbados. And when we had difficulties with transporters, sometimes we've had in the region, as it's well known, we found out that the cost of that travel, and sometimes they have to overnight in Barbados. The hassle and the problems and the cost was quite prohibitive. And therefore, this news has enormous implication for the people of the land.
Foreign Affairs Minister Peter David says it will also be welcome news for Grenadians living in the diaspora.
This is indicative of the deep relationship that exists between the United States and Grenada. It also bodes well for the future relationship. I've always said, and said to you and said to others, that our relationship with the United States is one that is deep and wide. We have, I guess some people argue, more Grenadians living in the United States, it is argued sometimes, than in Grenada. And I'm sure to the diaspora, this would also be welcome news for those who travel back and forth.
In a statement issued on Thursday, the U.S. Embassy said that applicants who acquired Grenada citizenship through the Economic Citizenship Program and all third country nationals will still be required to schedule a visa interview for visa renewals. The statement also said that meeting the general qualification for visa renewal interview waivers does not guarantee that an applicant will not be requested to present him or herself in person for an interview at the embassy. And ahead in Newsline Sport, Trinbago Knight Riders back at the top of the CPL standings. Stay with us. Sport is next.
This hurricane tip comes to you compliments the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency and the Caribbean Media Corporation. Be prepared. If the eye of the hurricane passes over, it will be calm for a short period only.
This summer and fall, Brilliant Barbados is offering you hotel discounts of up to 40% off regular rates when you book through Expedia before October 31st, 2018. Discover our Dine Around program specials at participating restaurants across the island, starting from US $50 per person on 3-course meals. For further information and full details to book your Barbados holiday, visit brilliantbarbados.com.
Filmmaker Peter Berg announced that he will direct a documentary which will take a stylistic look at the life of pop star Rihanna. The feature film will not be so much a rockumentary as it will be an intimate look at the life of a megastar. Berg's documentary film company, Film 45, will be producing the film. Berg previously directed Friday Night Lights, which was based off a true story.
Opener Colin Munro played superbly but fell just short of 100 as Trinbago Knight Riders crushed Guyana Amazon Warriors by 67 runs on Wednesday night to return to the top of the Caribbean Premier League standings. Sent in at Queen's Park Oval, the hosts rallied to 170 for 7 of their 20 overs, with the left-handed Munro stroking 90 of 56 balls and Dennis Ramdin getting a measured 39. TKR's innings was the tale of one partnership, a 135-run second wicket stand between Munro and Ramdin, and a sudden collapse which left the reigning champions about 30 runs short of what they would have envisioned. Though seemingly short of a competitive total, TKR then made light work of Amazon Warriors, bundling them out for a paltry 103 in the 18th over to post their 6th win in 8 outings this season. Roshan Primus top scored with 36 not out, batting at number 8, while Jason Mohammed gathered 26. But Amazon Warriors never recovered from the damage of being 48 for 6 in the 10th over. In news of football, Trinidad and Tobago will face a tough preliminary round campaign after being drawn in a difficult Group A for the CONCACAF Women's Championship, which is starting next month. In the draw staged in Miami on Tuesday, Trinidad and Tobago found themselves placed alongside powerhouses United States and Mexico, along with Panama from the Central American region. Trinidad and Tobago raised the curtain on the tournament with a clash against Panama in Cary before taking on Mexico on October 7th and the U.S. 3 days later at the same venue. Meanwhile, Group B will see Jamaica up against 2014 losing finalist Costa Rica, along with Canada and Cuba. Jamaica qualified after dominating the Caribbean zone of qualifiers, which finished last week, playing unbeaten to head the standings ahead of Trinidad and Tobago and Cuba, who finished 2nd and 3rd respectively. The Jamaicans face Canada in their opening on October 5th, then take on Costa Rica 3 days later before closing out their preliminary round campaign against Cuba on October 11th. The CONCACAF Women's Championship, which runs from October 4th to 17th, will be played at 3 venues. That's in Cary in North Carolina. That's the HEB Park in Edinburgh and Texas, and Tokyo Stadium in Frisco, Texas. Group A will be hosted at HEB Park. Still in football, Bermuda captain Reggie Lamb scored his first goal for Cambridge United on Tuesday night, but it proved only a consolation as they suffered a 3-1 defeat at the hands of Southend United in an English Football League trophy match at Roots Hall. 27-year-old winger gave the visitors the lead with a close-range header in the 52nd minute from a Giovanni Brown cross, but Cambridge's lead was short-lived. Shawnee Makowski levelled in the 55th minute and put Southend ahead in the 64th minute before a third from Isaac Hutchinson in the 83rd minute wrapped up victory for the League One outfit against their League Two opponents. Lamb will miss Cambridge's home league match against his former club on Saturday, as he will be leading Bermuda in their opening CONCACAF Nations League qualifier against Aruba on Sunday. Bermuda officials say the match has been moved to the Stadion Iglio Hato in Curacao because Aruba's home venue is unavailable. Switching sports, the way has been cleared for Trinidad and Tobago's women's senior volleyball team to participate in the Federation of International Volleyball Championships in Japan. It has finally received that necessary funding. TNT will qualify for the September 29th to October 20th affair in Yokohama, and they had doubts about attending because of lack of sufficient funds. But as we hear in this report from TV6's Sergio Dufour, the girls are now pumped and ready to make history.
Now that the financial stress is off of their shoulders, the road is clear for the Trinidad and Tobago national volleyball team to create history as they prepare to compete at the 2018 Federation of International Volleyball Women's Championship in Japan from September 29th to October 20th.
Yeah, we're definitely more settled. Now we could just really focus on only training. We don't have to worry about the outside events that may affect us, and we're just looking forward to a good preparation leading up to the tournament and going into there to be successful.
For the competition, the national team will be facing defending champion and world second-ranked USA.
The last time we played USA was in the Pan American Cup. We actually won a set against them. We lost 3-1, which was actually history for us because we've never taken a set from USA. So we were really glad with that stride. So we're looking forward to going into this tournament, being even better prepared and doing even better against them.
The other teams in their group include 5th-ranked Russia, number 10-ranked South Korea, 16th placed Thailand, and 24th-ranked Azerbaijan in Pool C of the 24-team championship.
Expectations are to place within the top 4 in order to continue on to the second round of the tournament.
They leave for the competition on September 17th.
And that's the sport. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Again, the major developments of this day: teachers in Guyana end their nationwide strike after the Ministry of Education agrees to take their wage dispute to arbitration. And in sport, Trinbago Knight Riders back at the top of the CPL standings after crushing the Guyana Amazon Warriors. Now that's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport around the clock, subscribe to CarnaNews.com. For more of our programming, log on to CaribVision.tv and subscribe to CaribVision's YouTube channel. We'll be back here again tomorrow. But from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and do have yourselves a good night.